What's going on YouTube? And thank you for tuning in to another episode of Texas Street Stories. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, help your boy out and hit the button. On this episode, we're going to be going back to the Texas Syndicate. Texas Syndicate initiation. One of the suspects sought to join the Texas Syndicate. A Port Isabel fisherman was lured to his death in the West Bronxville Park late Monday during a men's initiation into a Texas prison gang, according to court records released Thursday. Brownsville police on Wednesday arrested Jose Miguel Vasquez Jr., 39, and Andres Garcia, 25, on murder charges and the stabbing death of 47-year-old George Garza. A probable cause affidavit released after their Thursday morning arraignment states that the two men used a knife to stab Garza to death as part of Garcia's initiation into the Texas Syndicate prison gang. Now that's kind of weird, man. I thought that was just a prison gang, but I guess you can get put on out here. According to the Texas Department of Public Safety's Criminal Intelligence Service, the Texas Syndicate was founded in the 1970s by Mexican-American inmates from Texas who were housed in California Folsom Prison. The Mexican-American inmates originating from Texas have always been the most feared due to their fierce loyalty to one another. Above all else, officials said in the DPS report. Ana Ayala Vasquez, girlfriend and co-defendant in several recent robberies, told police that Garza was a member of the rival Valluco prison gang, and that Vasquez and Garcia lured Garza into Olivia Park under the pretense of business deal involving several pounds of marijuana. So they were going to set the dude up for a couple of pounds, but I guess they found out, that he was also part of the Valluco Tango. Well, allegedly, that's where he was from. And these guys were Texas Syndicate. I guess, prospect, wanted to become something more. Told him, but then again, this is in Brownsville. Police records state that Ayala and Vasquez are believed to be responsible for a 3-day string of robberies and other violent crimes that ended with their arrest Wednesday after an alleged purse snatching. I don't know, man, these guys go out to killing too from purse snatching. I mean, they must have been on, I guess, what they call a sick one, you know what I mean? Ayala told investigators that Garza picked her up in Vasquez's truck Monday night, and the three of them went to Garcia's house in the 1300 block of West Washington Street. Vasquez and Garcia told Garza that they had stashed several pounds of marijuana in a field off Woodrow's Lane. The four drove in Garza's truck, and Garcia's car drove to Olivia Park, where Vasquez allegedly bound Ayala with the duct tape inside the truck before leaving with Garza and Garcia's car. The 18-year-old woman told police that Vasquez returned the truck covered in mud and blood, and then told her that he and Garcia killed Garza as part of Garcia's initiation into the Texas Syndicate. The affidavit states that Jose Miguel Vasquez showed her a knife that still had blood on it, and that he licked the blood off the blade and then licked her cheek with the blood. I don't know, man, this guy must have been crazy already, getting some hepatitis C or, some kind of weird disease, like, why would you lick the blood off of that? Vasquez, Ayala, and Garcia returned to Garcia's West Washington Street home to clean up, and Vasquez burned his clothes in the backyard. Brownsville Independent School District maintenance workers found Garza's body in a ditch along the westbound lane of Wildrose Lane at 6:50 a.m. Tuesday. God, I mean, luckily the school maintenance found him before some kids found him. You know, dramatized the kids. Garza was face down in the mud and with 13 stabs to the chest, back, and arms. That's kind of messed up way to die. You know, they suffocating at the same time and you just getting stabbed. Brownsville Police Sergeant Jimmy Marankin said a series of clues from 5 different violent crimes investigators led to bring murder charges against Vasquez and Garcia. Police reports state that Vasquez and Ayala were implicated in the theft of a motor vehicle off Austin Road on Sunday and for the stabbing of a man in robbery near the city's airport late Monday afternoon. Yeah, they were just after robbing people, killing people, and setting people up. The couple allegedly carjacked a Good Samaritan who stopped to help them on East 30th Street Monday night. Poor dude. Vasquez and Ayala were seen driving Garza's red Ford F-150 during another crime in the southmost area Tuesday morning. Merengue said investigators believe the couple committed the crimes to feed an expensive and addictive crack habit. God, these guys were smoking crack, man. I can believe that. I mean, look at the crimes they were doing. I mean, I met a couple of these dudes, you know, and I met a couple of Texas Syndicate that were smoking crack. And I met a couple of what they call down here M&Ms, Mexican mafias, smoking crack. You know, so I don't know. I don't know. You know what I mean? I'm not here to judge. You know, I'm just here to tell you my experiences that who I've seen it. And I ran into one of them. You know, I'm gonna do a video about him. You know, he's based out of Dallas. You know, my one interaction with him. Believe the couple was arrested on Wednesday morning after they tried to rob a woman selling tamales at the AutoZone at the corner of Central Boulevard and Jefferson Street. Police said a passing police officer arrested Ayala in the parking lot of the store while Vasquez was hiding in the outdoor utility of the nearby Tropical Motel. God, so these guys were out there robbing the poor robbing the poor vendors, man, out there in the heat, making a few bucks for their, you know, for what they're selling: tamales, ice cones, fruit, corn in the cup, you know, whatever it is. You know, these guys were out there robbing them. Merengue said police recovered a knife in a vehicle that the couple had used during the crime spree. Now, these guys didn't even have a gun; they had a knife all this time. But authorities sent the weapon to lab to determine if the knife was used to kill Garza. These guys didn't even. That's how you can tell this guy was been to prison and still, you know, that was his thing. You know, walking around with a knife and stabbing people. But that's another story that I have for some other guy. You know, but walking around with a knife, you know, that did all this damage, not even having a gun. You know. Jail records show that Vasquez is being held under a $1.25 million for aggravated robbery, state felony theft, and murder charges. Garcia is being held under a $750,000 cash bond for murder, while Ayala remains in custody under a $150,000 bond for aggravated robbery and assault. Merengue said Vasquez and Ayala could face more charges for their Bonnie and Clyde spree. Yeah, that's what I guess what they were, you know. Bunch of crackheads, you know, going on a mission. You know, that crack, you know, that crack would make you do that, you know. And I used to see all these crackheads, you know. I used to interact with crackheads on a daily basis, and I used to meet them all from all walks of life, you know. Gangbangers, you know, I guess smart people, you know, upper class people, lower class, middle class. You know, the crack doesn't, you know, it doesn't discriminate. It doesn't have a priority of a race. You know, as long as you wouldn't smoke it, it welcomes you. During his Thursday morning arraignment before Brownsville Judge Phil Bellamy, Vasquez entered the courtroom handcuffed and shackled, but with his head held high and his strut in his walk. Vasquez proudly flashed the gang sign to news cameras and later used his hand to twirl a loose part of a chain around his waist during the proceedings. Vasquez twice told Bellamy he was a Tejano when asked about his citizenship. Cameron County Chief Deputy Gus Reyna and Vasquez and Garcia would be segregated from the general population of the Cameron County Jail for their own safety and the safety of other inmates. Well, yeah, you know, they're in Valluco territory, you know, and they basically just so-called robbed and killed a Valluco member, so they had to put them in segregation. You know, they couldn't keep them in population. That pocket, you know, that's run by the Vallucos over there. So, you know, well, you know, like I always said, you know, just be yourself, you know, and because at the end of the day, you don't want to be up in a situation that you don't want to be in, and you end up doing something you regret for the rest of your life. So, like, with this being said, you know, I end this video with the positive note of always, you know, just being yourself. Just be yourself. And if you haven't subscribed, help your boy out and hit that subscribe button.